This nopal cactus has been growing in my backyard for 20 years, here in Chicago. Did you know that there was a winter hardy nopal cactus that grows in this climate? Did you know that you can eat those petals? Today I'm going to show you the classic way to make a ensalada de nopalitos, a cactus salad in Mexico. You may live near a regular grocery store that sells nopales, these cactus petals. But if you don't, I have seen them in many of the regular grocery stores, but if you don't, you'll have to go to a Mexican grocery store. And then the added advantage of going to that Mexican grocery store is that they will probably be already cleaned. If you go to a regular grocery store and find them, you'll have to clean them yourself. So I'm going to take you through how you do that. I've already cleaned these petals here. Well, first of all, how do you choose them? You know, you want to choose ones that are fairly thin, quite thin, in fact. And I have 4 petals here that equal 1 pound, so they're 4 ounces each. That's the biggest ones that I would get. The bigger they get, the more fibrous they are, and they're just not going to be a great experience for you. What do they taste like? I mean, you've never had them? How would you know whether you're going to like it or not? Well, if you like green beans, then you're going to probably like these. These taste like lemony, crunchy green beans in a lot of ways. So let's see how we wrestle these things into something that you can actually work with. So they've got little spines all over them. You don't want to be holding them with your hands. I suppose if you had very thick gloves on, you could do that. Where the nopal cactus petal attached to the plant, you want to cut that part of it off, and then you want to cut around the petal like that, about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch into it. You just want to make sure that you're getting all of the little spines that are on the edge there. And when you get back to the other end here, you will hold your knife perpendicular and start scraping off all of the nodes where the spines are. And at first, you'll go very slowly and carefully, and then you'll get into the habit of just scraping them and not have to think very much about it. They come off actually very easily. I'll do 1/2 of it, then flip it around and do the other half. This top at the part here at the top, you want to make sure that you're getting all of them off because they tend to be a little bit stickier up there in terms of releasing. So just like that. You see how easy they come off. Then when you get about 1/2 of them done there, you will scrape the other half. Okay, now we've got that done there. Clean all of that up. Remember, this is all the spines here, so you don't want to grab any of that into your hands. And then I'm going to cut them into strips here. This is very traditional, either squares or strips. I like the strips that are a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch or so. And then you want to cut them into about 2 or 3 inch lengths. That all is up to you. All right, now these pieces I'm going to put into a pan like that I've set over medium heat. I have the spines off of it so I can grab them now with my hands. To that pan, I am going to add a little bit of onion I've sliced up here. It's just a small onion, and put that into the pan with it. I'm going to add to it a little bit of oil. So about a tablespoon of oil will go in here. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt is what I'm going to put into it. Just to start the seasoning. This isn't the whole seasoning for the dish, but it's just getting it going here. Now, what most people will tell you they don't like about working with nopales or eating nopales or serving nopales is the sticky, gooey, mucilaginous stuff that comes out of them. And most people boil their nopales and they will just continue to exude that stuff. Have you ever seen okra in a gumbo? It's just oozing out this stuff that thickens the gumbo. You welcome it there because it's the thickening for that gumbo. But you don't want it in a salad because it can be sticky and stringy and it can really be off-putting. So my way of doing this, and I have known this for a lot of years, is either to steam it in its own juices. So I'm going to put the top on here and we're just going to let that cook in the steam that's created in that pan for about 5 minutes. All that sticky stuff will come out. Then we'll uncover it and we'll let it just boil until it's dry. We're essentially evaporating all of that sticky stuff. My other way of doing that, which I learned from street vendors around Guadalajara, was just simply to take the full cactus petals, don't cut them up, score them very lightly on both sides, brush them with oil, sprinkle them with salt, and cook them over a wood fire or a charcoal fire. They're absolutely delicious that way, and lots of the carne asada that they do around Guadalajara gets served with these grilled nopales. I love that. And in that cooking, too, you just kind of do away with all that sticky stuff. So the boiling is the most difficult way. This kind of cooking in its own juices is, to me, the absolutely most secure way to get rid of all of that stuff. Okay, 5 minutes have passed. There's a few bright green ones still in there, but as nopales cook, just like tomatillos, they will start to turn to that color. Look down in here. You see all that sort of stringy, mucilaginous stuff there. That's what we're trying to get rid of here. The oil helps it, and then we're just going to continue to cook these now uncovered until all of that is gone. That will take about 5 more minutes or so, depending on your heat. And then we're going to let it all cool off because we're wanting it to be cool to finish this salad. I'm cutting up a serrano like they do in Mexico, just leaving the seeds and the veins in because I want that heat and I want the flavor. You know, a really interesting thing is that when you cut out all of the seeds and the veins, you actually do take some of the flavor away from it. So it won't be nearly as spicy, but it also won't be quite as flavorful. So I just made it into little strips, and then I'm cutting across the strips into very small pieces, because I want to mix these in. I don't like big chunks of green chili in anything because they just kind of take over when you're eating them. So scoop up that. Of course, you can put as much or as little of the chili as you want in there. So basically what we're making is like a pico de gallo. We had the onion that went in there to cook with the nopales, but we've got the tomato and the green chili, and of course now the cilantro. Very thinly sliced stems and all. I need about 1/3 cup or so of this. I think that'll be about right there. And we'll mix that in. The nopales and the onion cooked with the oil, but nothing else. Well, we had the salt in there too. You need that just to season it as it's cooking. We have those cool down over here. And what you'll notice here is, you remember how sticky and mucilaginous they were? Now there's just none of that there. They're really beautiful. I wish they could stay bright green, but that's not in the cards for these guys. Now we're going to season it with a little bit more salt here. It'll take about a 1/2 teaspoon more or so of that salt. I'm going to sprinkle some lime all over it. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is give it a little bit of lime and then go back and taste it and see if it needs any more. So we'll put about a tablespoon or so over it there and toss that. I like to put just a little bit of oil, additional oil, another tablespoon or so on this. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I think it adds a really beautiful mouthfeel and some flavor. to it. And so what you basically have here looks a lot like a cactus version of pico de gallo, or what's called salsa mexicana most of the time in Mexico. Let's see what it tastes like. I'm going to give it just a little more lime, a little bit more salt, like that, and then scoop it into a dish and top it with a little Mexican queso añejo, or you could use any other kind of grating garnishing cheese, like Parmesan Romano, something like that, over the top of it. Now, how would you serve this? Because it's called a salad, but that word salad in Mexico means something slightly different. It means a sort of fresh vegetable garnish on a plate. Lots of times you'll get ensalada de nopalitos alongside of a grilled steak or some chicken in Mexico. And in lots of taquerias, you will find something like this just on the condiment bar. So you can serve it as a condiment. I'm going to show you how you'd serve it on one of my favorite steak tacos. I've got a warm tortilla, some grilled skirt steak that I marinated with garlic and lime and spices, a spoonful of mashed avocado that I seasoned with a little lime and salt, and now the nopales over the top of it, perhaps a little bit more of this Mexican queso añejo on that, and just look at that. You're going to want to make the nopales salad just so that you can eat that.